Hey there, it's Kathy with Be Creative with Kathy, and I have a cute card for you today. It's one that I've done before, a Venetian blind card, although now Stampin' Up! Has shown us this beautiful designer series paper that you can get free during Sale-a-Bration. Now Sale-a-Bration is, I call it a reward program for shopping, so you spend $50 or $100 and you get free product out of the Sale-a-Bration brochure. Now, if you're my customer, you would have got one in the mail. And I, believe it or not, I'm looking around. I don't have, oh, I do have one right here. Looky here. So it looks like this. This paper you'll find in here. There's a couple papers. Here it is right here. So it's on page 6. So with a $50 order, you could get this pack of paper free. Now, this paper also coordinates with the Dainty Delight. Dainty, now Flower Dainty. Of course, I can't remember what that one's called, and I think I can find it in here for you real quick. Maybe not. We might have to go in the back, and I think my thumb was just on it. Let's go back here, and I'll show you that suite that coordinates with it, which is really cute. Now, I don't have that suite. In fact, when I find the name of it, I will, Dainty Delight. It's a Dainty Delight. It's on page 55. Let's check that out real quick. And then I'll show you, since I don't have, here we go right here. Look how cute that stamp set is that has coordinating dies. That coordinates with the designer series paper. Now, like I said, I don't have those products. I just have the free designer series paper. Really pretty front and back. It's totally, I think, unique. It's really pretty. It's lots of bright, bold colors. But then there's a sheet in there that looks like this. And when you cut this down to 5 1/4 by 4, you get sheets that look like this. Now, talk about simple, easy card fronts. A friend of mine, Phoebe, has sent me a couple cards. Look how pretty those are and how simple. She just took, I believe these are the scallop contour dies, and stamped a little greeting on there, the beautiful ribbon that coordinates perfectly. She put it on a little bit of that evening evergreen. There's a layer here of the rich raspberry, just all colors that are in the designer series paper. Added a little bling. I believe she even put a little bit of Winka Stella on the flowers. I don't think you can see it in the video, but look how cute and simple those are for just card fronts. So thanks, Phoebe, for the cards. I love them. Really pretty. But what I want to do with the paper is, like I said, turn it into a Venetian blind. So I think I'm going to use, let's try to decide. They're all so pretty. How do you decide which one to use? Let's use this one here, just because, whatever. And then I have a piece here of just basic white. This is 5 1/4 by 4. Just your normal layer of cardstock, right? And then I have a quarter sheet here of Blackberry Bliss. Now this is 5 1/2 by 4 1/4, and these are both, like I said, 5 1/4 by 4. Now you don't need to worry about writing all the measurements down because they're always on my blog, becreativewithkathy.com. Just give me a few minutes to post the video. It might be more like an hour, but I'll have all of the items that I use, a list of items, and the measurements there. Okay, so make sure when you're doing this card you have a nice pair of sharp scissors to cut the ribbon. We are going to use this crinkled, I think it's seam binding. Let me see. Yep, crinkled seam binding 1/4, and I really like it in the white for this card. And I'm going to use the Wildflower Path. I really love this stamp set. I probably don't use it as much as I thought I would, but it seems to go with all the designer series papers that we have. So this is a really go-to stamp set. Plus, I love the happy birthday, the thank you, and my heart is smiling because of you. So it has some good words, really pretty. The grass, it's a great stamp set. But enough chatting. Let's go ahead and get started on the card. So because I'm going to stamp first, I'm going to use my foam mat because that's a photopolymer or a clear stamp. I'm going to use Mossy Meadow ink, just another color in the designer series paper, and I'm going to use that rich raspberry. Like I said, that's another color in the designer series paper. I'm not going to stamp off of the cardstock, so I don't need to worry about getting my mat dirty. Usually I have a piece of scratch paper under, but like I said, we're going to stamp very little. It's a really fast, simple card, but I think it has a little bit of wow factor to it. So I'm going to bring up the stamp set so you can see which images I'm using. There's like a thick stem here and like a thin stem. I'm going to use the thin stem. And really what I'm stamping right now is the inside of our card. So in that mossy meadow, I'm going to just take that ink right there and just set it down here. Try not to go off the bottom of the card. And I'm going to just let that sit on my paper. I'm not applying a lot of pressure, but I want to make sure that ink has time to sink in there. There we go. Looks pretty good. And then with some of that rich raspberry, ooh, I do need a scrap of paper though so I can stamp off a little bit. We'll put it here. Well, if I put it there, you can't see the image. Okay, then we're going to use this big image here. I don't know what this is. If you're a flower expert, if you could please let me know, because I don't know anything about flowers. I do know how to kill them, especially if they grow in my house. Outside, if they're wild, they have a better chance. But anyway, I'm going to take my rich raspberry ink up my image good, stamp it off here. And then there's little spots here on this stem that look like they need a flower. So I'm going to just stamp those little spots there with my lighter of the rich raspberry, like that. And like I said, this is just the inside of our card, so I'm not going to do a lot of stamping, just a little bit. Then they have this smaller one here, and whatever this thing is here, I'm going to go ahead and just stamp that on top. I don't know if this is how Stampin' Up! Planned it, but I like the two tones it gives me when you do something like this. And really what I want to do is bring those outside colors to the inside of our card. And then in that same color, I'm going to just stamp that happy birthday. And I'm going to try to get it straight toward the middle here of that paper. I think that's going to look pretty good right there. There. So that's the inside of our card, and believe it or not, that's all the stamping that we're going to do today. Okay, I'm going to set that aside, give that ink a chance to dry, bring in my paper trimmer here, and that designer series paper that I cut. Okay, and like I said, this is 4 inches wide by 5 1/4, and since this is directional, I guess you call it, I'm going to start scoring at the bottom. So make sure that my cutting blade is out of the way. Up here, I don't want this to cut it at all. I'm going to use just my scoring blade. And like I said, I'm going to start at the bottom at a 1/2 inch. And we're going to score it at a 1/2 inch all the way up to 5. And no, to 5. Had to think there for a minute. So I'm going to score once. I'm not putting a lot of pressure because it is designer series paper, and designer series paper is, you know, a little bit thinner than the regular cardstock. So just a little bit of pressure when I score it. I did 1/2, 1 inch. We'll slide it over here to 1 1/2. And then we'll slide up here to 2. We'll slide over here to 2 1/2. And then we're going to go to 3. Then we're going to go to 3 1/2. And then we'll go to 4. And then I'm going to slide it over here to 4 1/2. And then we're going to go to 5. And that'll be our last score line. That gives us this little 1/4 inch here at the top, which, oh yeah, you can see it pretty good there in the video. See that one there? Okay, then I want to first fold that top down. That's how we're going to know. I think that was the right way. Watch me be wrong now. Yep, and I lied. No? I don't know. I'm going to just keep going. And then I'm going to fan fold. I think that's what this is called when you fold it like this. And those score lines make it nice and simple. A little bit of pressure there. Keep going all the way till we have it fan filled. Now, would you say fan filled or would you do fan folded? Oh, that's not even funny. I laugh at my own jokes. That's pretty bad. Okay, but now we have a piece that looks like this. Okay, now we need to punch a hole in this right here. So we have this piece, that's our 1/4 at the top. We're gonna like open it, leave that separate. And I'm gonna use my, remember, I think this is called a crocodile. right? Stampin' Up! Used to sell one, they don't anymore. I use a crocodile for almost everything, so I went through my Stampin' Up! One and had to go find one on Amazon. So I'll put the link below. If you don't have a crocodile, I think everybody needs to have one in their craft room, mainly because it can go through all this cardstock at the same time. Now, I don't know if you can see here, but I have it set at about 1/4 of an inch. Maybe it's easier to see, maybe a little over 1/4 of an inch, my guide over here. But I'm going to cut the smaller. There's 2 holes on the crocodile. I don't know if you can see, one's bigger than the other. I'm going to use the smaller hole just because I'm using that 1/4 inch crinkled ribbon that's really fine and soft and very light. So I'm going to use the smaller of the 2 holes. I'm going to try to get it in between, centered this way, and between those score lines, not this, and in. I can't do 2 things at once. And then I'm going to just punch that hole right there like that. Now, if you didn't have a crocodile, you could just punch each one separately and line them up, you know, one at a time. Oop, I went the wrong way. Come on, Kathy. But I think the crocodile, like I said, I use it for so many things. It can go through cardstock. It's just an amazing tool. Okay. So now I have all my little holes in there. And then let me show you what it looks like. We're going to fold it up to get that ribbon through there. But now, can you see that? Maybe if I put it on this piece, it'd be easier to see those holes. There we go. So now our piece looks like that. This again is the top with that 1/4 inch score line right there. Then we're going to take our ribbon here. And I think the first time I did the card, I used about 16 inches of ribbon, but really you would just have to measure like this across, you know, and then down and figure about what that is. But I'm just going to leave the ribbon on the spool until I'm done. Now, to get the ribbon through those holes, I'm going to pull in my, I think these are called looped needle threaders. Yeah, I don't know. I love these things too. And it has this great big, oh, I have 2 of them. No, I only have 1, I just can't see. But that's a hard thing about these. These are, you can see it down here. They're hard to keep track of, I think, but maybe it's because my eyesight's bad. But through that loop, I'm going to just put my ribbon right here, and now I'll know where my needle is. Because I'm going to fold this back up again. And then now I'm starting from the bottom. And it doesn't matter which side, but I'm going to put that needle through those holes like this. I'm going to try to keep it flat, but we can fix that later too. Across the top here, and then go through the other side. Oh, and I lost my... All right, Kathy, come on, all thumbs today, huh? Must be Monday. Let's put that back through there again. Pull it through a little further this time so it doesn't come out. There we go, and then back through here. Oh, brother. Okay. Now I'm going to put this back in the package so I don't lose him. If you don't have those loop needles, I found those on Amazon too. I can put those on the link below to find those too. Okay, so then we open this up. Now we have that starting to look like a Venetian blind, right? Just like that. Okay, so now we just need to make sure, first of all, that this up here is flat. We want this to be flat, at least I do. I want this to be flat across the top here, and then just enough room down here. See, I think it needs to go, this needs to go. Well, let's tie this in a knot first. Let's tie this down here just in a simple knot, just like you would see on your window if you have Venetian blinds. A little knot down here, not too far. There we go. Now I'm going to be careful that when I pull this ribbon, I don't pull that knot through the hole. So I think about there looks pretty good. See how far? Then we'll make sure this is flat again up here at the top. And then pull it through here. I'm just making sure now that I don't tear my designer series paper as I get that ribbon where I want it. And then down here. And now I think that looks pretty good. Now, you could either leave it long enough so you have room to tie the ribbon here, or you can just pull this up like this and then tie the ribbon. See, let me show you. I'm going to cut it about where I want it like this. And now it's kind of too short to tie, but if you pull it up this way, look, you have lots more room to tie that knot. I am trying to just be frugal with the ribbon here. And I'm going to try to get my knots about the same length. I'm having ribbon trouble today. Same length down here. Okay, now we have to pull this one short again because I made this one shorter. Pull this down a little bit. Now they're about the same. So see, now they look about like that. And then we'll trim these down later when we finish the card. So let's go ahead and put everything together. The first thing we're going to do is just take some simple tape runner on the back of our inside and lay this center onto this quarter sheet of cardstock here. There we go. Now on this piece here, I only want adhesive on this 1/4 inch of room up here, so that was our score line. So really I only want adhesive right here. Now you could use liquid glue, but I tend to make a mess when I do this project with liquid glue, so I'm going to bring my silicone mat and some tear and tape. Now our tear and tape is supposed to be 1/4 of an inch wide. Now if I scored this perfect, this would fit on there just right, but it's not going to, trust me. So I'm going to make sure that I stay above the score line, and it's probably going to go a little bit, the tape is going to go a little bit onto my silicone mat. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure if this is tear and tape that I purchased at Stampin' Up, or if this is leftover from my paper pumpkin. So it might not even be exactly 1/4 of an inch wide. But there, and you saw I just tore it here, but there's a little bit hanging over, so I'm going to trim that so it's just perfect here and didn't have anything hanging over. There we go. I'm going to rub on it, make sure it is stuck down really well, and you can see maybe that it did just go a hair over there, but this way it doesn't stick to my table, it doesn't stick to the silicone mat, so I can still work with it. Then after I take that backing off, maybe there, now you can see how that tape went just a little bit over. I'm going to just use my silicone mat and just fold that over, so now it's not over at all right here. See how I just took it like this and folded over? The silicone mat did all the work for me. So now I'm going to take this piece and that adhesive strip up there, I'm going to just lay it down here on that basic white. Maybe I am. So it covers it up just right. Put some pressure, make sure, I'm going to even do this, I don't want that to come off. So I'm going to make sure it's really stuck down up there. And really, except for trimming these off if they're a little long, in fact I think they're just a tad long, I'm going to trim them just a hair here. Whoop, that's the wrong pair of scissors. Those will not cut ribbon. I've cut paper with those and they're not sharp as these are anymore, but these that I saved, these paper snips I saved for ribbon, they will cut that ribbon like butter. Okay, there we go. Now, when your recipient gets their card, the first thing they're probably going to do is flip it this way to see the greeting. But really, hopefully they will learn over time that when you pull those two little ends, look how cute, just like a Venetian blind, it goes open and closed. And now you notice I didn't put any bling on the front or any gems of any kind, so it doesn't mess with the mechanism. It fits in a normal size envelope, and I think it's a really pretty wow card just as is. So there you go. That's what I have for you today, the Venetian blind. This card also works well with the Wash in Beauty Designer Series paper available in the annual catalog. And I had a card here to show you. Here it is. It also works well. Now on this one, I took and put a few more flowers on the inside and did a little bit of that grass to coordinate with this one. Now this is the Wash in Beauty, like I said, Designer Series paper. But you pull those little strings and it makes that really pretty Venetian blind. Now there you go. That's what I have for you today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you back here next Monday. Have a great week. Bye-bye.